Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of Reclaiming Your Field. Today, we're going to talk about the frequency of the patriarchy. I'm Kristina Meiers. I'm an energetics practitioner and teacher, and I am here to help you look at what is going on currently in our structures and our systems from an energetic lens and how to reframe it so that you can pull back your energetic power and your sovereignty back to yourself. So a lot of this around the patriarchy is, a lot of it's framed around a political concept and our systems. And I want to rephrase that and reframe it for you from an energetic lens. Okay, so this episode is really about building the foundation for everything else in the series. And as a reminder, I have a companion guide on my website called Reclaiming Your Field, and it is a deeper dive into each one of these concepts. So, in general, we hear the word patriarchy and we really try to associate with this with a group of people, especially from a geopolitical lens. And especially right now, that is what we're really seeing amplified in our society. But I want to say this very clearly, that this is a frequency. This is an energetic frequency. And it really is a belief system. And it's a very old and very repeated belief system that over time really became invisible. And it became invisible because pretty much every one of us, whether we understand this or not, regardless of our gender, regardless of our politics, even regardless of our value system, we all carry this belief system at some level, this frequency at some level, because it is so embedded into our day-to-day vernacular, our day-to-day lives, and it just has always seemed very normal because for most of us, this is the system that we grew up in. And even if you are very sensitive, you probably feel very out of touch or out of kind of an outsider in a lot of the systems that are in the structures that have been here. However, it still permeates through everything. And so each of us has been really impacted by this, whether consciously or unconsciously. It is very important that we understand how deep this is, because you can't withdraw from anything until you have first been able to name it, to recognize it, to see it, and understand how deeply embedded it is into our culture and the way that we operate life in general. So let's kind of look at this. So yes, it is a belief system. It's really not a person. And what that frequency actually believes in at its root is that there are people and beings that have more value than other people. And that value is based on a certain race. It's based on a certain set of values. It's based upon a certain gender or a certain lineage. And that hierarchy is very natural. It's a natural kind of organizing principle. And that the authority that comes with that is coming from a position, a place of position. And wisdom is not really part of that. It's really about what you own. It's about knowledge you may have. It's about position of power that you may possess as well. And so with that comes this underlying feeling that other people, their bodies, their minds, their intellect, their anything that they have should be part of that system. That system should own it. It should have power over it. And the earth itself is a resource in which to extract and exploit and abuse. And so this is not in alignment with our natural laws and how we really are built to exist. And so this has created this really unsustainable system. And it has become this very repetitive, very ingrained, and very invisible system that is permeated across everything that we do. And it goes against our natural order. It goes against who we are fundamentally as human beings. And we have forgotten that as human beings. And unfortunately, we all carry this. And part of the work of identifying this, of becoming conscious of it, the whole reason I wanted to do this series is because it's not about judging each other. It's not about judging the systems. These are very old systems that have just been handed down over and over and over and reinforced over and over and over. And the big shift that we are going through as a collective right now is to recognize this. And it's to understand that the power is not outside of us. The power is actually inside of us. But we have to do the work to be able to understand where we're giving our energy to, what systems are in place that we're supporting and for those to carry on, and how we can actually make a change, a very sustainable change, a very steady, sustainable change for the systems to actually go away, so we don't carry this from generation to generation anymore, and that we build something new in the meantime that actually is sustainable and works for all of us. And if you go to any of my other podcasts, I talk about the astrological shift that we're going through right now in order to help you understand why this is actually happening, and that this is all a convergence point that we are in right now, and that this has been very much designed for us to make a major pivot as a humanity. Okay? So through our energy, through our attention, through our focus, this is all sustaining, okay? This is being passed down over and over and over. So every purchase that we make at a corporation that is funding this principle and is funding these agendas is continuing to allow this to happen. And every time we give attention to a media company that is owned and concentrating their focus and their power on these type of interests, we're feeding it. And every single time we give our spiritual authority to somebody or a system that is, again, perpetuating this, demanding compliance, extracting from us, we're continuing to strengthen that. And conversely, every redirected choice weakens the old frequencies and it helps to build something new in its place. Again, our focus is about what can we build that actually works for the majority of people, the whole system, versus just a few people who are really extracting and exploiting the system for their own benefit. So the big thing about what I'm focusing on here is withdrawing our energy. How do we start to withdraw the energy? And why is resistance not a good choice from an energetic standpoint and an energetic lens? So when we resist, or when we try and meet an energy with the same energy that it's putting out, basically what happens is that it gives the system a target. And also matching a frequency that is inverted versus trying to create a new frequency, a different frequency that old frequency cannot match, is really more beneficial in the long run, because we're changing the game. You don't really play the game with the same rules as those that have played it forever and know it. You have to play the game a different way. And that's the same thing with energy. You have to change how you're actually using your energy. So the number one thing that we're going to focus on in this series is how do we withdraw our energy? Because when we withdraw the energy, it removes it, and the systems can no longer sustain once we move our energy away from it. Okay. So this is not about passivity. This requires more consistency than going out and standing in a protest line and waving a sign or calling senators that aren't going to do anything or Congress people who aren't going to do anything. This is really about consistency on our part, but it's super effective. And what's effective about it is it really compounds over time. So it compounds in a way that a resistance cannot. It compounds in a way that protesting does not. And again, it's no use fighting the old systems. The systems are going away. They're dying. They're collapsing. Right in front of our eyes, it's all collapsing. And it has no longer has the energetic blueprint attached to it. That has been dismantled, and I've talked about this. Everything that gets created has an energetic blueprint. When the energetic blueprint is no longer viable and it's no longer there, then it starts to show up in the third dimensional world. And that energetic blueprint for the system that has been built has been stripped. Energetically, it's gone. And we're watching it fall. But the way that we can accelerate that, the way that we can actually start to move our focus in a new direction of building something new is actually no longer feeding it. So it's about how do we withdraw and how do we focus and sustain something new to be built at this point. So before you dig into any more of the other episodes, before you really dig into the guide, I want to present a question for your body to respond to, not your mind. Get your mind out of the equation, but really, how does this feel in your body? So the question is, where do I feel the weight of the system most in my daily life? Where do I feel the weight of the system most in my daily life? And this isn't meant to analyze. It's not meant to really all do any of the work. Again, it's just sit with that question and identify where in the body it's hitting you. As we move to the next episode, we're going to do a really simple audit because you can't redirect your energy until you get more clearly and you are able to see really where it's currently going. Where are you putting your energy towards? And so we will get deeper into every episode about where we're putting our energy as it relates to each one of these core systems that make up the patriarchy. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful to have you with me on this journey. And together we are going to make really big changes. Take care.